The 2024 race for the White House is heating up. Just yesterday, the Trump campaign announced a staggering second quarter fundraising haul. And amid Biden's struggles, Trump's 2016 opponent, yes, her, Hillary Clinton, is raising speculation yet again. She's headlining a list of speakers at the NAACP National Convention. But according to a new Gallup survey, independents are quickly on the rise, with 44% of Americans no longer identifying with either major political party. So, does this open the door for a possible third-party candidate? According to many reports, the so-called No Labels group, a growing centrist movement, is eyeing a third-party run. And with West Virginia Democratic Senator Joe Manchin at the top of their list, Democrats are raising alarm. Here with reaction, pollster Lee Carter, former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi, and former State Department spokesperson Morgan Ortagus. What a great panel this is. Pam, let's start with you. You worked with the administration. You were the first woman elected to your position as Attorney General in Florida history. You know a lot about campaigns, you know a lot about politics, but you know an awful lot about governance. I mean, how do you see this playing out for Joe Biden and Clay Travis saying he doesn't even think Biden will be the nominee?
Well, I think he has big problems, as he said. And, you know, we have Governor Whitmer out there making appearances, Gavin Newsom, of course, on Sean Hannity, and Hillary Clinton at the NAACP. I mean, the hypocrisy of that is beyond me, because look at the 1994 crime bill. Kellyanne, remember that her family passed, which by all the black community accounts was disproportionately impacting the black community by the mass incarcerations, versus what Donald Trump did for our black community, giving black colleges permanent federal funding, which was unprecedented, and the absolute lowest unemployment rates. So you're looking at that and these candidates versus Donald Trump, assuming he is our nominee. I firmly believe he will be on the Republican side. And it's also very, very difficult to get a third-party candidate on the ballot. So if they try to run a no label, a no third-party candidate, it's going to be very difficult. As you know, it's going to require hundreds of thousands of signatures to get someone on the ballot. But yeah, I think they're frustrated with Joe Biden, especially based on the video that you showed at the beginning of your segment.
Yeah, the new Echelon Insights poll shows that the third-party candidates really do tend to hurt Joe Biden. Lee Carter, you and I are pollstresses of, that's a female pollster, pollstresses, and I know you study this day in and day out for many decades. There's no question where people call themselves independents. They refuse to pledge allegiance to either party. They're declaring their independence from both political parties. But in practical terms, who really has the advantage right now on the issues as goes the independents?
Well, you know, people don't like labels, but they really do identify one way or the other. So most people, there's really only about 1 or 2% people who are truly independent. And what we're seeing right now is most people are leaning more Republican, but there's some issues that they have issue with. But the issues that are most important to Americans revolve around the economy, where Republicans do much, much better with independents. It also is on immigration, crime, corruption. All of those issues favor Republicans, and that's where a lot of independents are putting on the line. The one issue where it does not favor Republicans is abortion, and that falls way, way, way down on the priority list, but might be a driver of some people's vote.
And Morgan, as our resident foreign policy national security expert here, former spokesperson at the State Department, there's no question that people are concerned about international issues and national security and the disgrace and dishonor that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris has brought to our nation around the globe. How do you think that's going to play with independents and in the 2024 election?
Well, we can just look, Kellyanne, at the news cycle in the past few months, and what do we see happen? First, it started with the authorities uncovering these Chinese-run police stations, these secret police stations in the United States. Then we famously saw the Chinese spy balloon that traversed the United States. It was allowed to collect everything that it needed to collect before finally being shot down. Now we have news, and the administration hasn't been able to get their story right, but we have news of a Cuban spy base in Cuba that is funded and paid for by the Chinese. So we're talking about, close to American shores, having a spy facility that is funded and equipped and paid for by the Chinese Communist Party. And I think Americans, while they may not pay attention every day to foreign policy the way I do, I think they understand whenever they see a weakness on the world stage. And Kellyanne, you and I know we handed the Abraham Accords, which were peace deals, the first peace deals between Israel and Arab states in 26 years. We handed those to the Biden administration. And what happened? Within, just 3 months, Hamas was attacking Israel. Within 7 months under Biden's leadership, the Taliban had taken over Kabul. And within a year, you have the worst war on European soil since World War II, when Russia invaded Ukraine. There is a key lack of deterrence in every theater in this planet, coming from Biden all the way down to his Secretary of State and the rest of his national security leadership.
So well said. It's very important to remember all that, Morgan. Thank you. So in our remaining time, I'm going to point out that in 2024, many Americans are saying that they may look for a third party, they may not. But I think both frontrunners, Trump and Biden, kind of are ignoring the traditional campaigning. And you see other people out there flipping burgers and making pancakes on July 4th. I'm going to give each of you very smart women a time to give advice to either Biden or Trump. Pam, we'll start with you.
Well, I think Donald Trump is doing exactly what he should do. We saw him on the CNN town hall, and I think his polls went up even higher, if that's possible, after that. I think Joe Biden needs to give interviews, and he's not going to do it for all the reasons that you showed us. And if not, if I was a Democrat, I would want him to walk away and let another Democrat run for president, because he cannot do it.
Lee, your advice to either of them or anyone else in the field for that matter?
Well, I think on the Republican side, the issue has to be made about the economy and making our lives better. The Republicans continue to make the case on how bad it is. Americans know that. 7 in 10 Americans say we're going in the wrong direction. Depending on the poll you look, some say it's worse. Republicans have an answer, have solutions. And so I would say to all of the Republicans that are running, DeSantis, focus on that. Don't focus on the culture wars as much. Focus on how you're going to make the lives of everyday Americans better, because you have the edge there, no doubt about it.
Morgan, you get the last word.
Listen, I'll give advice to President Biden. I think he should go home and play with his grandchildren, all 7
How many of them? All 7 of them. Perfect. Well done. Lee, Pam, and Morgan, thank you very much. I know everybody's listening.